Hello everybody and welcome back to the International Racing Series. We are here for Silverstone. This is going to be an exciting race and qualifying, and we are immediately getting underway. Right now we have one of the Red Bulls leaving out the pits, and I believe that is Kiers. But a Ferrari just up ahead, and I believe that might be DBK or F1 Connor out. What's their Ferrari? Oh, don't know. Well, Solar is out on track at the moment. The first car out on track in the white and red Red Bull. Both Red Bulls are now out on track. You got Connor ahead of Kiers now, and RXV Max retiring from qualifying. But it will be Solo, who is far ahead the rest of the guys coming out of the pit lane now, to start his first flying lap of this qualifying session. 18 minutes, it's enough for 3 flying laps around this wonderful circuit. High speed, high downforce, and some legendary corners on this racetrack. We have 20 drivers here today for what looks to be a sunny qualifying. One has retired from this qualifying, however. Solo will start us off for the start of this qualifying session, and then F1 Connor. And heading through the Hamilton Straight now, heading down towards Abbey. It's flat out, very easily in these 2025 cars. And braking down for 2 hairpins now. And heading out onto one of the first DRS straights on this circuit. Braking down towards now Luffield. Pick your accelerating point. It's not always the same. Onto the curbs on the left. And onto the old pit straight down towards Cops. Flat out in 7th gear. And then Maggots and Beckett's. End of sector 2, it will be purple due to him being the first person to do a flying lap. And down towards the slowest part of the racetrack, the club section. And exiting out using all the overtake, what you have left in the battery. And the cross line will be a 26.1. That's the benchmark. Connor will come across the line and will go 6 tenths quicker. It's a 25.5. Next one to come across the line will be the other Red Bull of Kiers. And deploying the overtake now. And across the line, it's just half a second slower than F1 Connor, 25.581. Then we have one of the VE cars coming across the line, 28. Jesek with a 36. Lellers with a 26.7. And the Haas of what is while Diego comes across the line to go up into P4, which is now P5, as Elmo comes across the line with a 26.1, 6 tenths away from the front 2 leading cars at the moment. And then the LB44 going up into 7th, now 8th, as Nate Rotax goes up into 5th in that Sauber. Caution sector 1, that's just a McLaren off wide. And we have Braconnier, who's going to complete a lap next. DRL Naismith is coming into the pits after failing to do an opening lap. And we have one of the Alpines, Jason, who goes fastest, a 25.520. It's 6 thousandths quicker than F1 Connor. Now we have one with the Ferrari, and that's Connor coming into the pits. Who's that Alpine? The Alpine of Jesek. A slow lap for his first attempt. This is a push lap once again. And will it be enough on one lap older tyres to get up towards the front? It is. It's only 4th place, but it's good enough on those old tyres. 1/10 away, 1.5 tenths away from provisional pole position at the moment in that Alpine. Donster at the back of these train of cars that might be in his way to come across the line. Backas in 18th places in front of him is also completing a lap. But through the final section now, Donster will come across the line and it will be a 28.421. DBK invalidated on his lap. He won't be completing his attempt. Pink Eye Penguin, Missouri out on outlaps. The only drivers to not set a lap time now and are still in the pits are Hayden, Hella High and DRL Naismith. Donster goes again, however, and he's 6 tenths, 7 tenths up on his previous best. Flat out 7th gear on that legendary corner. Then Maggots and Beckett's. Dropping down to 5th at the lowest. And opening up the DRS. He's invalidated on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's and he'll have to back out of that lap attempt. Pink Eye Penguin now on a fast lap here. And he's pushing left tyres on those gravel on those left tyres and he's invalidated on his lap, so we have to wait again to see where he places. Missouri is starting his first lap. Oh, okay, all good. Oh, and that's Missouri off into the gravel for his first qualifying lap attempt. He's got 10 minutes to set a proper lap, so it's all good. As we see, a lot of drivers coming out to their second out laps. Pink Eye Penguin will not go again, so he'll be coming back to the pits at the end of this lap. Solar will start his second flying lap of the session. His first attempt is a decent one, 26.1. He's going to need a bit more than that to tap into the top 4. And opening up the DRS towards the sector 1 split. How quick will it be? It's a 1/10 improvement in the first sector. Purple. But in this game, purple doesn't really represent anything. It can glitch sometimes. And putting on the throttle now. A good clean lap so far. Has got an Alpine ahead of him of either Jessic or Jacelyn. And through cops. Putting onto the edge. Almost invalidating, but it's looking decently quick so far. Maggots and Beckett stays in 8th gear for the majority of those corners. And dropping down 3 gears at the final section of Maggots and Beckett. Opening up the DRS now, 10% ERS, and it's a 2.5 temp improvement, and has a bit of slipstream from that Alpine. And then a 5th gear right-hander towards the end of this lap and down towards the club section, dropping down to maybe 2nd or 3rd gear. And onto the curb. Exploring the extremities around the track, and it is a 2/10 improvement to go ahead of Elmo. Goes into the top 5. So who's next to come across the line? We have one of the Aston Martins starting his lap. And then we have a Sauber, I believe Hayden, finishing his lap attempt. This will be his first qualifying lap. And across the line now He's been decently quick so far in qualifying this season. 7th place at 26.152. We have one of the Ferraris coming across the line. That's Connor, who sets the fastest lap of this qualifying session at 125.458. 70 thousandths quicker than Jacelyn. Donster comes back into the pits. And DBK ahead of Hella High, and Hella High coming into the pits. DBK, one of the 5 other drivers to not set lap times in this qualifying session so far, goes up into 13th place. And he will be the next one to come across the line. I believe we see Rotax coming across the line. It is a 2-10 improvement, but it's not enough to gain a position ahead of his teammate. And we have one of the Alpines, or 2 of the Alpines, Jason, coming into the pits on his abandoned qualifying lap attempt. Jacek will finish his though. How quick could it be? He needs to gain at least 2 attempts to be pole position, and he will be on provisional pole, 25.337 for the Alpine man. Elmo invalidated his qualifying lap attempt. Diero Naismith going up into 7th place sometime around 35 seconds ago. Good lap for him. And now we do have, trying to see who's coming across the line now. Connor will go again to start a 2nd flying lap attempt, and behind him is LB44 in 15th place currently. And then one of the Aston Martins coming across the line, I believe that was Bacchus at 26.836 is his fastest lap attempt so far. And he looks like he will be pushing. Pink Eye Penguin with 6 minutes left to go, 5.5 minutes left to go, has not set a qualifying lap attempt so far in this session. He will be setting his first one, however, maybe in the next 2 minutes or so. How fast is Connor going? It's a slight improvement in Sector 1. The Ferrari has got just over 1/10 to gain to get back onto his provisional pole position spot. Last season's champion, don't forget. And cross Sector 2, it's not an improvement. 3-4, so the 10th. And he'll be backing out of it, goes back into the pits. Bacchus, is he on the quick lap? He's used all of his ERS and goes straight into the pits. Mazur in 17th place has invalidated this lap. Pink Eye Penguin is on one. On board, staying in 7th gear for the first 2 sections of Maggotts and Beckett, and then in the slower sections dropping down 2 gears to 5th, opening up the overtake and DRS at the same time. And on the widest section of the track, he'll brake just after the curve starts into the apex and try to use as much track as he can, but it's not going to be another lap attempt. He goes straight back into the pits. Mazur, he'll go again. Had a high, now on an out lap. And he will be starting his first flying lap of the session. 3 drivers have not set qualifying laps so far. One of those being one hasn't started, so I don't really count him. If you say that, 4 haven't set lap times so far. Through the first corner, Abbey has got a Ferrari ahead of him. That will be DBK, who swiftly gets out of the way. And climbing up the gears, opening up overtake and DRS. And the end of Sector 1, so 27.560 for Ella High. And pick your accelerating mark. That corner seems to never stop turning. And onto the old pit straight. And through one of the most amazing corners in 7th gear. Dropping down to 7th and then 6th and then 5th. There's a lot... No, they're not 5th. Stays in 6th. There's a lot of different ways that each driver takes Maggots and Beckett. Some like to stay in 8th until the last corner. Some like to drop it down a gear or two. And Hella High will be completing his lap attempt. But he's invalidated at the exit of the corner. And he still won't be able to set a lap time so far in this qualifying session. He's got 2.5 minutes left to go. And so far, it will be 20th and last, unfortunately. Donster is on the lap, however. 8/10th improvement. His teammate hasn't set a qualifying lap. But he will. An 8/10th improvement could be enough to get into the top 10. On exit with overtake, deploy used, it will be enough to get into the top 10. 1 second improvement at 26.173. It's 9th place, splitting the two Saubers. And Draconier will be starting his flying lap now. DBK is in the middle of his, and it's not an improvement in Sector 1 by 0.5. Solar starting his third flying lap. Hella High retiring from this race, recognises that he won't have enough time to do another outlap. Elmo starting a lap right behind Solar. These two cars are right next to each other, both on track and on the leaderboard. Jesek starting his flying lap now. Yellow flags in Sector 1. That's one of the Mercedes, I believe. But who will be finishing his lap? 1/10 down on his lap time, and he's used all his deployments. So it will be an abandoned lap there as DBK goes off onto the runoff. There's one of the Saubers. Let's see where Jesek is up to. He is improving very slightly. Connor's just started his third flying lap. And Kier's in the middle of his. Elmo is improving. Solar, how's he doing? He is not improving. He's abandoned his lap attempt. Elmo needs at least 2.5 tenths to gain the position. He's currently 1/10 improvement through sectors 1 and 2. And through the last couple of sections, deploying the overtake. Will it be an improvement by how much? It's enough to get into the top 4 ahead of Kiers, but these guys still need to do their lap attempts. Solar will have enough time to do another one. We're watching Kiers now. He just saw his lap time, P5, getting beaten. Jesek improves even further, 25.243 to get up onto pole position so far. Kiers goes up into the top 2. It's almost a 3/10 improvement, but 0.5 eludes him to get that pole position. F1 Connor improving by 1/10 or a second, but that won't be enough. Now it's 1.5 tenths. 1.5 tenths. That could change in Sector 3. Will he lose or gain time? In the most optimal conditions, 5% ERS in these last few corners. Regeneration brings that back up to 17 and deploying it once again. Connor will not take pole position. It's a 25.256, splitting Jessica and Kiers. Jacelyn abandoned his qualifying attempt. He won't be setting another lap. Elmo, we just saw him do a qualifying lap attempt. So did Solar. He is pushing now and he's not improving. In fact, he's invalidated this lap attempt. World Jaeger, is he improving? No, it's a 7-second loss. Pink Eye Penguin goes up into 4th place. And that will be his first and last lap attempt. And the top 4 are separated by under 1/10 of a second. 98 thousandths of a second to be precise. Jesek being the leading man, followed up by Connor. Only 13,000 seconds behind him. It's looking to be an interesting race. Pink Eye Penguin setting a lap at the twilight seconds of this qualifying session. Jesek putting on the late surge to get up onto pole. Connor in second can fight, so can Kiers. So basically everyone in the top 4 can fight. Silverstone is a very easy track to overtake on most of the time. So it's going to be interesting to see. I believe my game might be glitched. Yeah, it was. I couldn't see the results screen. It's fine. I think it's 27 laps around here, 26, something like that. We'll see. And it's sunny skies at Silverstone. You don't often see that. Most of the time it's gloomy, cloudy, or raining. But we have, at the moment, it's looking to be a simple one-stop here from medium to hards. Jessek, as we saw, on pole, Connor in second, Kiers in third, Pink Eye Penguin in fourth, Jason in fifth, Elmo in sixth, Hayden P7, Solo in eighth, Naismith in ninth place, Donster in 10th, Nata Rotax in 11th, Leathers in P12, Will Diego in 13th, Bacchus in 14th, DBK in 15th, LB44 in 16th, Raconier in 17th, Missour in 18th, RXV Max in 19th after retiring early in the qualifying session, and Hella High in last place. 3 minutes the drivers will have to change or tweak their setups, change fuel loads, change strategy, and do whatever they need to do in these 3 minutes of time. It's looking like most of the majority of the drivers here are picking the medium compound tyre. That's the general go-to. Kiers is looking like to maybe going on to the hards, but that can be modified very, very, very quickly. LB44 on the soft tyres, Donster starting on the sauce maybe. And it looks like to be an interesting affair to see what will happen in this race. No threats of rain, it looks like. And we'll see what happens. Right. What was I looking at? So we ready up at 28. It's currently 27 past. What? Wait, no. What? No, that's not possible. What? Oh, you've... Hello? Oh my... Thank you, Connor. Thank you so much, Connor. Oh my god, he actually did it. Oh my god. Alright, get back in, get back in, get back in. You got to be... Literally the worst moment, honestly. Literally the... Why is this game so utter I'm seething. I actually can't. This is shocking. Thank you, EA. Oh, thank you. Jesus. Right. Sorry about this. Like, genuinely sorry. Right. Get back straight into it. Right. Right, okay, so lap 1 must be in the middle of it or completing it now. And who will be leading at the end? Please. And it will be Jacek, who immediately takes the race start and will be leading this race. Connor up into P2 and Hayden gets a time penalty. And that will be a time penalty of 6 seconds after the first 2 corners. Elmo up in P4, Daryl Naismith in P5. But who has lost the most positions there? Kiers now retiring from this race at the start of it. And the people that have gained the most positions here are Hayden, but with that time penalty, and the 2 Williams have gone really, really well here. Pink Eye Penguin dropping from 4th all the way down to 12th place. Jason going down in 17th. Jacek, though, in the comfortable position, kind of, ahead of F1 Connor. And these 2, they'll be feeling pretty happy about their starts. Hayden, despite having that track position, 6 seconds is a lot to get in the first sector of a race. Then the 2 Williams in the Golf livery behind them 2. Solar needs to make sure that he doesn't drop down DRS range, and that's one of the McLarens drifting wide. And that's Stonster, Lellers in P8, World Jaeger in 9th, Backass in 10th, and DBK and LB44 fighting out on the main straight, and that's one of the Ferraris dropping down several places after battling with the Mercedes, and he's, well, maybe not got damaged, but he's definitely dropped around 5 places or so. And meanwhile at the front, Elmo getting ahead of Hayden. Hayden just looking to be struggling in that Sauber and exit onto the Wellington straight. And RX VMAX, and it's a whole entire battle here. Oh, it's an entire squabble between DBK, RX VMAX and Jacelyn. Jacelyn being the better of those 3. And up ahead, and we have one of the Mercedes on Mazur, ghosted. The gap between the race leaders has dropped to below half a tenth of a second. 5 tenths of a second. Half a second, I mean. And heading into the DRS zone, dirty air eludes them, however, around Maggots and Beckett, especially in these versions of F1 cars. And deploying the DRS, Connor, and putting pressure on the Alpine, will stick behind, however. 3-second time penalty awaits RX VMAX. Let's have a look at the tyres now. And Connor has gone on the hard compound tyres. So did RX VMAX, LB44, and Hella High is coming to the pits and to swap onto those hard compound tyres. And what can we expect? The Pink Eye Penguin has gained several positions on lap 2 and is looking to get another to try to get ahead of Lellers, and is taking a wide, but he will have a better exit. But the Aston Martin will also have the DRS on board with the Haas heading on towards Luffield, but he's got no ERS in the tank, and that Aston Martin runs away with it. It looks like F1 2026 in that Haas. And he'll be under pressure from his teammates. Pink Eye Penguin is looking to try to gain several positions here after maybe, I don't really know what happened at the start, but there was definitely something that happened, and the Aston Martin goes wide. At the front, however, Connor putting pressure on Jacek, despite being on what is supposed to be the worst tyre out of the 2. And no moves there. The Haas is currently in the top 10, both of them in the top 10. In the lower points places, the Saubers in the top 10 as well. Both Williams are as well. It's looking good for those teams. But this man would rather be in the top of the podium. And through Abbey. And it looks to be maybe an opportune moment for the Haas. Pink Eye Penguin goes down the inside of Lellers 99. And there's a bit of contact. And that has consequently made Lellers made contact with the Haas. The Haas and the Aston Martin, unfortunate to meet each other at the same point. And Pink Eye Penguin looking up ahead to try to overtake a Sauber instead. It's turned to a recovery drive for Pink Eye Penguin, and he is making progress. 4 positions from the start. After that incidental mishap on lap 1. Donster gets ahead of World Jaeger. World Jaeger does have front wing damage and is pretty much slowing down at the moment. Meanwhile, towards the back of the front, Connor goes down the inside of the Alpine and will make the move stick for now. And heading towards the club section. The only hard runner in the top 14 leads the race, and Pink Eye Penguin goes down the inside towards club and will gain a position up into 7th place. Solar, he'll have DRS once again. Pink Eye Penguin against Solar. Meanwhile, what can Jessic do now that he has a DRS? 5 laps into a race, these mediums shouldn't be too bad. But the cards will come to their own eventually. And then 7th place. Pink Eye Penguin, 3.5 tenths away from Solar. And it just looks like Pink Eye Penguin has the better mid-corner speed. Towards Copse Corner, RX VMAX overtaking LB44. They'll both be side by side on exit. This will be for 14th place, and RX VMAX on the outside, Mercedes on the inside. The V-Cub slightly ahead, a bit of side-to-side contact between the two cars. Mercedes on the inside line for Copse. And it will be ahead, and RX VMAX going very wide. Pink Eye Penguin having DRS against the Red Bull Solar. And Pink Eye Penguin will go round the outside of the Red Bull. And will they fight? They will fight, but Pink Eye Penguin up into 6th place as DRL Naismith 1.5 seconds up ahead. The Ferrari still leads 6 laps into this race on those hard compound tyres. The alternative strategy, Connor loves going onto it, and I believe he's gone onto those hards at the start of this race 100% of the time this season. And it's working out once again for him. There's a big gap between DRL Naismith and Hayden, and likewise Hayden to Elmo. Elmo, a pretty comfortable position here. He doesn't need to be particularly fighting, and he knows that if he just stays and keeps his front wing clean, that he'll get a decent result. Hayden does have that 6 seconds, and that will impact him pretty heavily if it stays how it is. Now Nato Rotax is looking extremely close here for a potential overtake on Solar. And Solar weaving on the straights, but the Sauber is not close enough for an overtake. Meanwhile, the 2 Aston Martins are getting really close. These 2 teammates love fighting against one another. The 2 Aston Martins. They were in Haas last season, now they're in Aston Martin, and no love lost between those 2 cars. Jessic now slowly dropping out of DRS range. These are where the hards really do come to their own compared to the mediums. And it's official, Jessic out of DRS range from the race lead. And Pink Eye Penguin in 6th place, only gaining towards DRL Naismith. After Naismith, it's an additional 2 seconds towards Hayden. And Corpse taking the apex a lot better than Naismith has. That gets Beckett's now. DRS 65% at the start of this straight. And barreling down towards the Williams. And will go down the inside. And it will be Pink Eye Penguin up into the top 5. Meanwhile, Nate Rotax up into the top 7. Hayden gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Going from bad to even worse for his race. Both Hayden and Solar, both being overtaken on the same lap and both coming into the pits. One doesn't have a time penalty, however. So that means that LB44 now up into the top 10 after staying out. One of the few drivers who started on those hard compound tyres. The only other driver who has stayed out for this long and it's still on them is Connor. Elmo still within DRS range of Jessek, and Jessek, because of those old tyres, is dropping massively from the back of F1 Connor. Connor, 2.3 seconds now ahead of the Alpine. So what do these medium runners do now? The top 8, several of them on those old mediums. Both of them chose not to pit. It is relatively early in the pit cycle if you want to do a 1-stop. Of course, a 2-stop, you can do one, but it might be slower. DRL Naismith comes into the pits now. And Bacchus follows him in. Now, where does Hayden end up after this pit cycle? Maybe he will be ahead of Naismith. But he does have 16 seconds worth of time penalty. And Braconnier gets a 10-second time penalty. The speed limit around Silverstone, even though it's not been this speed limit for quite some time, is 37 miles per hour. Modern day, it's 50 in real life. But the game keeps it at 37. And that's catching out some drivers. It's a very fast entry into the pit lane. And Hayden getting ahead of LB44. DRL Naismith going down the inside of the Mercedes. Oh, it's ghosted. Elmo once again closing against the Alpine on this main straight, back straight. And what does the two cars choose to do? They could choose to stay out. Lolas gets a 3-second time penalty, currently in 12th place. Solar on brand new hard compound tyres. Will want Naismith to drag him along on Naismith's fresh new medium compound tyres. The pace differential between the two tyres is relatively large. However, one does wear quite considerably more as Mazul's ghost car comes into the pits. Jacelyn gets a 10-second time penalty. I saw that shot up for just a small moment, I think it was. Let's look at the time penalties. Jacelyn gets a 10-second time penalty. Who else got a time penalty? I think DBK just got 3 seconds. But Jacelyn, who was on the softs, now goes onto those hards, I think it is. The man who was fighting for pole position in qualifying has got a 10-second time penalty and is all the way down in last place. It's been a very, very, very bad race for him, and he'll want to forget about this very, very quickly. He's got the pace to fight at the front, but unfortunate. Really unfortunate. Now Jessica and Elmo choose to come into the pits and they've been doing just fine. Pink Eye Penguin also follows them. Nata Rotax now comes into the pits and will manage to make the speed limit. Donster continues on and will be spending 10 laps on those medium compound tyres. The only two cars that have stayed on the tyres since lap 1 are LB44, Donster and Connor. And Connor is looking relatively comfortable here. It's a caution in sector 1, but very quickly disappearing. DRL Naismith up into P7. Pink Eye Penguin down in 8th place. Something's happened to him, and now we see Solex Yeater and LB44 swapping positions. Solar goes down the inside of the Mercedes, and now Naismith will have the opportunity likewise to get ahead of the Mercedes. Oh, whoa! I don't think the Williams expected that, and that's because... Wait. Yeah? Okay, so I thought I've something's definitely happened to the Mercedes there. I thought it was my game breaking again, but the Williams is now ahead, and the Mercedes of LB44 retiring from this race in the background and taking a Sauber with him of Hayden, and Hayden gets another 10-second time penalty. It's now 26 seconds for the Sauber. It's another one of these drivers, and it's a full-on safety car now. LB and Hayden being the primary cause of it. That will allow Donster to take an opportune moment to come into the pits. Staying that one lap late has really benefited the McLaren man. And where will he come out? He'll come out in 7th place on the freshest tyres on the track. Let's see. But what does Connor choose to do now? What can Connor do? He will have to do 14 laps on mediums, including the safety car laps. But even without the safety car laps, he will have to do at minimum 11. The mediums may last that long, but they may not be very good at the end of it. But the smart thing to do for Connor would be to pit, and so he does. He will keep the race lead, however. Jacek is a million miles away, half a sector and a half away from Connor at the moment. Jacek and Elmo just pitted on the last lap. If they had an extra set of hards, it would make sense to come into the pits, but actually, they'll probably lose track position there, considering the fact that Solar and Naismith are also out on track. And Donster not too far away from the pack in front. Connor comes into the pits on mediums. Jacek continues on. The Williams of Elmo continues on. Solar continues on. DRL Naismith comes back into the pits. And he will be going on to the hards to the end of this race. Pink Eye Penguin probably thinks that he should box one lap later. Connor making his way towards the safety car now. Naismith will be ahead of the Aston Martins. He'll be in 8th place, but he was in 5th for the majority of the 13 laps we've had so far. He'll be the freshest though. So now there's a There's a tyre differential for the lead of this race. Connor, the sole runner in the top 14 on mediums. Jessic on hards, Elmo on hards. Let's have a look at time penalties, and Hayden serving that 10-second time penalty that he had at the start of this race, towards the start of this race, to drop him from 26 seconds down to 16. But either way, he'll probably have to pit again at some point to serve those extra 10 seconds. If you were driving this race, you'd probably take the opportune moment to serve your 10-second time penalty during the safety car. And now we see Solar coming into the pits. Going on fresh hard compound tyres on lap 14 hour 26. These will definitely go to the end. LB44 has left the session. But the question is, will the Red Bull be ahead of the pack of cars who are currently on the main straight? It won't be. He'll be behind Naismith, Lellers, Bacchus, and Mazur, who has rejoined the game now after the safety car, and hella high gets a 3-second time penalty. World Jaeger comes into the pits. The maximum amount of laps that the safety car can do in this game is 3. After 3 laps under the safety car, it automatically forces the safety car to come back into the pits. The furthest away from the safety car at the moment is Jacelyn. This safety car is a fortunate moment, a rare fortune moment for Jacelyn. We'll have the time, maybe 11 or 10 laps, to climb from 18th, and with the help of maybe some time penalties, get back up into the points. Only 4 drivers out of 18 are on mediums, one of them being Hayden. Hayden is on 9 lap on mediums, and those mean that the, well, to say the least, oh dear, Hayden getting a 10-second time penalty again for ignoring yellow flags under the safety car, and that's 30 seconds, 36 seconds worth of time penalties that will be served. This is going from bad to even worse to probably down the doldrums. And he'll be serving that 10-second time penalty now. The safety car will be coming in at the end of this lap. Connor, after sector 3, will be the de facto safety car and will lead the train of 17 other cars towards turn 1. Safety car at the end of this lap. Connor doing the Kimi Raikkonen and not weaving on this straight. Meanwhile, the 17 other cars are. on basically the pit limit, 53 miles per hour through one of the fastest fifth gear corners on the calendar. And, well, at a leisurely highway pace, he'll go now. And will he take Jesek off guard? He's building a gap for these final two corners, and that was a successful restart for the Ferrari. And Elmo has gotten slightly worse off here. Pink Eye Penguin, who finished after the first lap on 12th place, now is up into 4th. And could be looking for a move here on the Williams. And it's side by side almost through these hairpins. He'll get the better exit. The Haas will have the better drive out of the corner, plus the slipstream. Elmo defending with overtake against the Haas driver. And Pink Eye Penguin chooses to wait for another life. No! No, he doesn't. He goes down the inside of the Williams at the last moment. And it'll be side by side on exit through Luffield. But the Williams defends. And through Copse Corner now. It's a hard fight between 3rd and 4th place. The Haas right at the rear of the Williams with overtake plus slipstream. The Williams, that flashing LED means he has no battery, and around the outside the Haas driver will go, and it will be an overtake to get back up into the top 3 from which he lost at lap 1. Jason from 18th, 17th place now is up into 13th and is looking for a move on the Ferrari. DRS is now enabled after 1 lap restarting under the safety car. And the Alpine of Jason will want to make gains of positions. Meanwhile, in the background, we see one of the V-Carbs struggling out of the exit and will be hindered 3 wide into Abbey. Oh, dear God. Man, they've somehow managed to make it through the turn, but the V-Carb and the Haas collide into one another, and Braconnier gets a 3-second time penalty. Pink Eye Penguin's next target is one of the Alpines. Jason goes up into 12th place. 5 positions gained after 1 lap of racing, 1.5 laps of racing. Lap 17 out of 26, DBK gets a 3-second time penalty. Top 3 within 8 tenths of each other. It's a toss-up on who will win. Connor does have the superior tyre at the early stages of this restart, but those will wear down. Jesek and Pink Eye Penguin will be fighting this out. Jesek is conserving, harvesting behind the back of Connor. Pink Eye Penguin taking the fastest lap of this race on lap 17. And now lap 18. Yellow flags, and that's one of the Mercedes. That is Mazur with gravel on those tyres. Climbing up the gears, the Haas behind the Alpine. RX VMAX gets a 3-second time penalty. DRS enabled for 2nd and 3rd place. Hayden gets a 3-second time penalty. And Lellis goes down the inside of Diarra and Naismith. They both go very, very wide on exit. And that allows Backus to get through on the Williams. Naismith will not be very appreciative of either of the Aston Martin's antics there. Solar looks to be taking an opportune moment to try to get past these 3 cars ahead. And through Abbey, the Red Bull down the inside, and it will be up into 9th place for Solar. Meanwhile, in the battle for the lead for the podium spots, Pink Eye Penguin is getting ever so closer to the back of that pink and blue Alpine. Solar goes down the inside, around the outside I mean, of Bacchus. Because of this battling, Elmo has decided to join the top 4 in what is now a 4-way battle for the race lead. Jason once again gaining positions ahead of Hella High now, and looks ahead to see Williams ahead of him. Top 4 separated by 1.4 seconds. And Jessic goes slightly wide, and now allowed the Haas to go side by side down to the club section. The Haas around the outside, which will switch to the inside. And it's an opportune moment to go up into P2. The Alpine losing the rear slightly on exit. And now allow Elmo to catch back up to this rest of the pack. And now Pink Eye Penguin only sees one more car to take back the race lead. But Jessic is not giving the fight up. And will try to go around the outside, but losing the car slightly. It will be another time. Opening up the DRS now with overtake. The Haas has no battery left. And it's another swap of position. Jessic momentarily takes P2, which will now be confirmed. Meanwhile, Solar against Lellers around the outside of Luffield. The Red Bull will go. And the Aston Martin fights back and the exit. But Solar now up into P7. 3.6 seconds ahead is Nata Rotax. But the Aston Martin looking to fight the Red Bull. And that's Lellers going very wide on the exit. Pink Eye Penguin versus Jessic. There's still around 6 laps of this race. And through Abbey. Meanwhile, down in the lower points places, Naismith down the inside of the Aston Martin is trying to fight back and gain positions which he has lost. But Jason takes this opportune moment to go side by side with the Williams. The Alpine now up into the points playing places with DRS now, and will be fighting and looking up ahead to see 2 Aston Martins of Lellers and Bacchus. And Solar Lellers does have a time penalty. He'll gain that position regardless at the end of this race. But Jason will be looking for more than that. Lellers on the back of the Red Bull and will try to go side by side through Cops, but to no avail. And once again, goes slightly wide. Lellers will have the DRS. Solar goes onto the grass at the exit of the Beckett and Beckett section. 5% in that Aston Martin. And we'll have to wait once again to try to attempt an overtake. The question is not a matter of if, but when. It's not a matter of when, but if. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Not a matter of when. If, but when these mediums wear off at the end of this race, my bad. Jessic only half a tenth away. Pink Eye Penguin 4 tenths away. And Jason down the inside Bacchus in sector 1 at the hairpin. Making moves now in 9th place. Jacek has been very patient at the back of Connor. 94% battery in that Alpine. He's been harvesting, to say the least, and, well, if he's managed to stay at the back of this Ferrari with that high rate of harvesting, I don't know what he will do. Well, I know exactly, maybe go for an overtake. But he's got two other cars behind him that could pounce if there is a mistake. And Lella's gaining a position and fighting with Jacelyn. And the Alpine fighting with the two Aston Martins. Solar has run away with this. It's a caution in Sector 2. That's one of the V-carbs. The Alpine trying to look down the inside of the Abbey. Naismith coming into the... Wait, Naismith has had issues there. And is now all the way down in 14th place. Jacelyn down the inside of the Aston Martin. Well, Jaeger gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding into the pits. Jason, 2.2 seconds. Waits him and Solar. The two Aston Martins going side by side on the exit. It's Backass ahead of Lellers. But how long will that be? Naismith gets a 3-second time penalty. Lellers gets ahead of Backass. Starting lap 24 now, Connor in the race lead, Jessic in P2, Pink Eye Penguin in 3rd, Elmo in 4th place. They are all within DRS ranges of each other. And it's looking like to be a final lap battle for the race lead. Each of these cars don't have any time penalties that they need to worry about. Meanwhile, in the background, Backus and Hayden very close to each other on track, maybe battling, and Hayden losing the rear on the exit. That will hamper him for maybe a potential overtake. In fact, Backus is looking up ahead to fight against with his teammate. Backus with no time penalties, Lellers with maybe a one-time penalty. And through Luffield. Both are harvesting in none on this former pit straight. They're still within the points paying positions, of course. Battle for the race lead still hasn't produced a last dashing overtake since Pink Eye Penguin tried to at this section of racetrack here. And it is the penultimate lap of this race. Lap 25 out of 26. This is where we're going to see some of these top 4 drivers pushing to the limit now. Because they know that the time is running out. And the gap has grown. Has shrunken quite considerably compared to the last couple of laps in the Alpine. Right at the back here, this is the time to push. If there was ever a time, it would be now. Top 3 separated by 5/10 of a second. And onto the back straight, but it looks like Pink Eye Penguin here might get an opportunity to go on against the Alpine. No, will stay in none, because he knows that the proper battle is on the last lap. They are pushing, however, and Elmo is just watching in the background. Pink Eye Penguin looking for maybe overtake, and it will catch out Jessic, and Pink Eye Penguin goes up into P2 at the start of the last lap. Heading down towards Abbey. It's the Alpine versus Haas heading into the first corner, and the Alpine getting ahead. And Connor now will have the DRS, maybe, because there is a lapped Mercedes of Missouri. And Connor does get that DRS. It's a lifesaver for the Ferrari, and the Alpine knows that he only has one proper overtaking spot left on this last lap of racing. And he'll have to work for it. 5/10 is the gap between the top two now. And it looks more likely, if you're betting at this corner here, that the Haas may get the overtake on the Alpine. Hayden goes ahead of Leathers. But on this final lap of racing, Connor, on 13 lap old mediums, has commanded since the restart. That's an Aston Martin Leathers, who is causing yellow flags in Sector 2. But it looks like at the final lap, at the final time, the Alpine just isn't close enough to the Ferrari. And with 2 more corners left to go, or 3, let's get some 10-second time penalty. Connor will cross the line to win at Silverstone. Jessic in P2, Pink Eye Penguin in P3, Elmo in P4. Donster will cross the line in P5. A comfortable race for him. Nata Rotax in P6, a good race when Jason recovers to go up into 7th. Solar in 8th place. Hayden will cross the line with time penalty, so that means Backass will go up into P10, and Hella High will score a point for McLaren. Lelis in P11. Hayden ends up in P12, and Naismith, which was looking to be a decent race until multitude of incidents, up into P12. DBK in 14th, RX VMAX and Braconnier, both V cars, still need to finish this race. But Connor takes the race lead, leading a train of 4 free cars ever since the restart, to win in the end. And Jessic and Pink Eye Penguin weren't able to make a decent impression on perhaps the race lead. And that will be the end of this race now. It's Connor, Jessic, and Pink Eye Penguin on the podium. Pink Eye Penguin in the end, taking that fastest lap. Connor in the race lead, Jessic in second. Elmo not too far behind the top 3 in 4th place. Donster in P5, and that's a Rotax in P6. Jason in 7th, Solar in 8th, Backass in P9. Hella High scoring a point for McLaren. That's your top 10. And well, that was an entertaining race. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good night.